Welcome back to Rootions. We believe Creole connect people across the Caribbean and Central America. And today we want to highlight the importance of Creole and in history, beauty as a living language and cultural identity. So we bring back one very special guest for you today. None other than the National Creole Council in Belize, Mr. Wilford. Welcome. First of all, Mr. Wilford, thank you very much for joining me today again, Pan Rootions. How are you there?
Welcome. Thank you for having me. That always a pleasure. And I all right, and I excited about the conversation what we both have.
All right, wonderful. All right, Mr. Wilford, for those people who may not know, you can please explain we one little bit what exactly that the National Creole Council or what that the mission or which role they got in preserving the language.
All right. So the National Creole Council, that one organization we're responsible for the safeguarding, promoting and strengthening Belizean Creole culture, identity, and language. For we mission that we ensure that Creole continue to be one vibrant, respected, and fully recognized part of Belize's national heritage. So we work that we preserve the language through research, documentation, and standardization of the writing system, and community education. That's our big part. We also advocate for Creole use valued in a school, over different forms of media, in a national events, and in a government institutions. So the National Creole Council, we call it NKC for short, and it serves as the guardian for Belize Creole culture and heritage.
Wow, wonderful. I believe we need one of that here too.
Should.
Yeah. Here in San Andres, we the minority. Or I cannot use the word because in the international law, minority status not determined by population size alone. Especially when you that the original people of one territory. So I can say fewer in number. Fewer in number. Because well, with a less than 30% of the population.
Okay.
Most people here in San Andres honestly not a Creole. Even some Racial people not attack with language. And I hope we sister island, Providence. I hope they learn from we and not fall in the same mistake. That's it.
Okay.
But well then, in a Belize, I know say, despite the fact I say Uno got so much ethnicities. You know, you got the Fauna, you got the Spanish people, you got the Maya, and so forth. But despite the fact that say Uno got so much ethnicities, Creole remain the lingua franca. No, Uno that the only English-speaking country in Central America. And Uno got immigrants from the neighboring Spanish-speaking country. That now they have Creole language in somehow or some way or another.
To that, I would say yes and no. It affect in some ways and it not affect in some others. I will start with how it not affect. It not affect because Creole are the lingua franca. So it no matter where the people come from, when they land here, they want learn to talk Creole.
Wonderful.
And some way based on where you come from, you might have a heavier accent than other people when they talk Creole, but you still talk Creole. I will tell you one joke. One time I gone to a Chinese shop, and I walk in at the shop, and I say to the shopkeeper, "Hi, morning." And the man look at me and say, "What going on?" and it kind of shocked me because I never expect that out of a Chinese shopkeeper. No, he never have that accent like where some Chinese people where they talk Creole one got. He say it in a broad Creole.
Yeah, raw Creole.
Right? Raw Creole. So when they come, no accent, none at all. So if you close your eye, you won't know the difference between he and me when we talk.
Okay.
All right? So the migrants they come in with their language, and what the language do, that mostly strengthened for we Creole. Because we as Creole, they are in a Belize, when the Kekchimaya come from the Petén in Guatemala, that about 1840, 1850 so. We me there when the Yucatec Maya come from Mexico, when they made the run from the Chaos War. We me there when the Garindagu come from Rotan in 1802. We me there when the East Indian and the Chinese they come as indentured laborers. And we welcome everybody. So when you want to talk to a Belizean, they always on the basis of Creole. In a official settings, it will be English. But on the street, on the playground, the school, on the basketball court, on the football field, the Creole, right? And the cultural diversity and migration patterns of Belize definitely help to shape the evolution of a we Creole. Because languages that are living thing and then grow with the people we talk it. So for example, the way how Spanish get talked in of we northern districts, Corozal and Orange Walk, is heavily based on Creole, rather than for we Creole heavily based on the Spanish. So when Spanish speakers from Mexico or from Guatemala or even from Salvador or one of the Central American country, when they come to Belize and talk Spanish to a Spanish-speaking Belizean, they almost got a language barrier because now how heavy Creole influence how Spanish talk here, right? So because Creole get used in a daily communication across all ethnic groups, we naturally will absorb some of the vocabulary, some of the expressions, and some of the speech patterns from Spanish and from other indigenous languages. But the thing is, we apply it to the existing Creole orthography. We don't make that like be a heavy change in a Fiwi language. For example, Spanish word baleador, where that kind of like was synonym of friend. Instead of we use a whole phrase in a Creole, we just shorten it and say ballet. So ballet now in a Creole means your good friend. But I'm a ballet, or that I'm a baldus. Right? So the other languages do influence Creole, but you know have a big effect on Fiwi Creole.
Wow, wonderful. I feel identify with plenty of the things they you say. So even the last word there, I don't know where we got a word where we say bale, one bale.
Yeah.
To that way they say bale, but I don't know. I guess it comes from Spanish. I'm not sure. I don't know if that word where it come from or what, or that is word where you just say, you know, and different. we pronounce it slightly different. But
it's possible.
You when they mention say when you use English in a more formal settings and Creole, you know, that used to be the keyest years ago in a San Andres. Well, that's where for parents tell we, but I don't live that. No, I live the time when Spanish take over. So you hardly speak English now. We talk Creole, who the Raisal, talk Creole among we self. But this Spaniard them will come, them not talk with language. So the small percentage of people talk Creole language.
Okay.
So Spanish that the language where we use in the formal settings now, school, government. So everybody talks Spanish. So Spanish become like the lingua franca, we call it like that.
Right.
Let us say like the two ethnicities. You got the Raisal and you got the Paña. Of course, you got every Raisal talks Spanish. Not every Raisal, unfortunately, they talk Creole, no. And you got one and two Paña where you know appreciate the culture and so forth and land for that. Or then grow up Raisal neighborhood or whatever the reason, we learn to talk the language.
Right.
But I want to ask you, why is it important for one country recognize and protect in Creole or indigenous language then?
Well, that important to do justice to the people, if we say in our nutshell first. Because when our country protect the people in language, then it helps to protect the people in their identity, their history, their knowledge systems, and their worldview. See, language are not just what we talk. Language carry ancestral memory. It carries story. It carry the wisdom of the people. It even carry humor. So like, for example, the Anansi story, then somebody just humorous, right? We just tell it for the jokes and the fun of it. The language also carry the people in their ways of understanding the world where you can't really translate fully into another language. Like, for example, the Creole proverbs then what we got. I could explain to you what the proverb mean in English, but
You know,
you
guys,
don't really get a sense.
you know, guys, see sugar in here.
Correct.
No,
Like if I say tiger maga but the kakatari,
yeah,
I could explain to you that that means even though the tiger might look weak, it's still fierce. But it just roll off of your tongue the same way.
yeah.
But when you grow up knowing the expression and intuiting the expression that are beyond knowing it, because then it just happened mentally. When you grow up with that, then you have a better understanding of what information is being conveyed. You also understand the the cultural nuances and how you talk the language, the intonations where you want to use, the emphasis where you want to use, and that are part of what create language barriers. When you talk to somebody, when not understanding cues there in your language. So recognizing the Creole and other indigenous language also promote national unity and cultural pride, especially since Belize is a very diverse country. We don't want to create no racial oppression or no racial divide, which could potentially lead to race wars. We don't want to do that. So it makes sense to we acknowledge and show appreciation to everybody. We contribute, the word where I like use a mosaic. We contribute to the mosaic that is Belize. Because they're like all different leaf color, all different pattern come together. Where each color, each pattern have a different culture and different heritage and different practices. All of that come together to make the Belizean identity.
Yeah.
So we have to promote all of who make Belize, starting with Creole, because we are the ones who lay the foundation for what is now Belize. And acknowledging and protecting our Creole and indigenous language and heritage means that they open the doors for the healing what we need as a people in our post-colonial society.
Wow. Big words them there. Wonderful. One of the like one multi-diverse country, a melting pot a culture and ethnicities.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, well, in a for archipelago, well, we that the descendants of the first settlers of the island, that are what we call the Racial people. But of course,
Okay.
we are basically kind of like one colony of Colombia, so mainland Colombia
Mm-hmm.
to live on the island. And well, as I tell you now, we the Creole Racial people are fewer in number. But you want to say something interesting in the question where I tell you before, because of course the language they evolve, right?
Mm-hmm.
In borrow in normal, if they naturally borrow words from different languages, right? And more Creole languages where got like one language just set the syntax and one language just set the lexicon, the lexifier.
Mm-hmm.
Whether English based Creoles, the lexifier would be English mostly. But unfortunately, San Andres, because of the imposition of Spanish, it happened now
Mm-hmm.
as a rate where Spanish they influence Creole plenty. Um,
Okay.
so, but interesting to hear how we work that side in Belize. But plenty people here San Andres and I believe Belize too, and in the Caribbean still believe Creole languages that just enough of a case. They go say English based Creole, say that just broken English.
Broken English, yes.
Yeah. So how you would explain to them, say that one fully developed language in its own.
Okay. Well, the language have several components, right? Syntax, the one, morphology, that one other observation of language in terms of how the language evolve. Then you have another one we call it morphosyntax, all right? And Creole have all the elements present that you could observe and study academically that make it one language. As a matter of fact, from time to time, we got students from universities across the world. We were corner Belize, can study with Creole, they could write their dissertation to get their doctorate.
Wow,
All
wonderful.
right. So one of the outcomes are one of these research that one book we name The Song of Creole. All right. Now, in the National Creole Council, we got one lady we name Silvana Odds, and she that one of the foremost linguists in a Belize. she that one of the founders of the National Creole Council. And she may even the do Creole thing before they put the council together. She may start what we call the Creole Project. And that through the Creole Project, we put together the first dictionary, the first Creole English dictionary in about 2006, along with other publications. One of the tools where I personally use the most nowadays, that one of Miss Silvana handbook, we name You Can Read and Write Creole. And it go through the consonants, the vowels, the consonant blends, and it teach the structure and the rules of how to read and write the standard form of Creole, right? So Creole is a complete language with its own grammar, vocabulary, song system, and rules. While Creole shares syntax with English, meaning it got English roots, it developed over the centuries a contact with Europeans, Africans, and indigenous people in Belize. The history produced a new language, now a flat version of English. So Creole are not just broken English, because Creole got in mosquito words. Creole got in Igbo and Akan and Yoruba words. And that then the components add to the morphology of Creole, right? So the best way if you explain it, that's through the grammar. The way how we form verbs in a Creole, the way how we form tenses, plurals, and sentence structure in the systematic ways, exists in English. For example, in English, you want to say, I am running. In a Belize Creole, we will say, I de run. So once you put de in front of a verb, that they show the present continuous form of the verb. So we ask people, what you did do? What are you doing? Right? So for you understand that Creole our language, you have to understand languages. You have to understand the rules and the formatting we go into languages, not just Creole, but any language. For example, the way how you conjugate verbs in a Spanish, they're not the same way you do it in a English. And so if you don't understand that about Spanish, then you probably won't think that Spanish is our language either. Right? So a language is defined by the structure, the community use, and identity. And by all of the things we don't say, Creole stand proudly as a language in its own right, because of how we talk it, how you write it, and how you read it.
All right.
Now, interestingly, in Belize, most people only know if they talk Creole. Most people don't know if they read and write Creole. And that the justification in that what we start off this segment upon. Creole being a form of broken English. So they say you can write it how you want, it no matter, it does matter. Because there is a methodology linguistically that we have now to standardize how to read and write Creole. And if you want, you can still read it, or you can still write it how you want. That not take away from the fact that we have people, local and foreign, we invest years in a research and documentation in order for we could get to the point to standardize the language.
Wow. Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, well, you see, sometimes people don't understand the difference between derived from and being just a dialect, because of the way that English-based Creole, so it derived from, but that was separate language with the one,
right?
You say syntax, grammar, and phonology, right? I got some books right here. See, from Favorite Creole to English Dictionary. I got one where how to write Creole, how to write Favorite Creole, and even the Bible, the good news about Jesus Christ, where Mark write. You can even download an app on your phone where got the San Andres and Old Providence Creole English, Islanders Creole English. But I believe even before you create a writing system, that's still no justification for you to call it a language, because the grammar exists. You just not write it, but you just don't explain something we apply to for we same Creole. Maybe the pronunciation we say more D and we say more D, but they're the same thing. the continuum, I des it down. You de
Yeah.
you know, instead of
Mm-hmm.
ing add to the end of the verb, we add the word de before the verb.
Front of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
If we indicate the past, we got the word did or me or when. I when they talk, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
uh
We
the
are saying me.
exactly. So you got me, they, or when. Providence and say did, we say when, and some
Uh,
people in a both island use the word me, just like you know.
okay.
So even before you write it down on a book, that not say it no exist, that just say somebody not just sit down and say,
Mm-hmm.
this is how it go. And we don't get it officially now. But I would want you to tell me a little about Funo Creole writing system.
We have people whether while we go back into slavery. So that present neo-colonialism. And one of the most successful tools in a slavery and in a colonialism is division, right? So now in that division, you are pit people petty differences against one another. And you use the almost insignificant differences to make people feel like they're set apart from each other rather than use them as bridges, right? So to decolonize we approach to unity, instead of look upon differences, we should look upon dissimilarities. And dissimilarities that what make San Andres unique as an expression, what make Belize unique as an expression, what make Caribbean Island unique as an expression. But if you look on the root of what all we got, that the same, we are just different branch from the same tree. We suck nutrients from the same root. So I sure if I look and the mechanics we go into it, you know, no different than for we want. We want different than how some of the words are spelled. And what was unique to you, that the cultural expressions where you grew up with versus where I grew up with. So some of the phrases where you use in a San Andres Creole no might be exactly the same phrases where we want to use in a Belize Creole, but best believe we have one equivalent, right?
Yes.
So if we focus on differences, then we are find things to repel and oppose each other with. But if we look on dissimilarities, then we are could say, oh, I got 5 finger, you got 5 finger too. I got 2 foot, you got 2 foot too. But your toe they might shape different than my toe. You might keep longer fingernail than I keep. Your eye they might go a lighter brown than mine, but you got eye toe. That's the idea of this similarity. We got the same thing, but something about what you got make you slightly set apart from what I got. So in the cultural appreciation now, we could come together on the basis of these similarities and then teach each other what makes us unique and then become stronger.
Yeah, right.
All right.
I agree.
Well, I kind of touch on it while we gone through years of linguistic study, community collaboration, where people literally go from village to village and document how the people talk, what word they use, what phrase they use, how they use it, and use that as a basis to establish what standard. That no means that that's how all Creole people talk, yeah, because every language have variants,
Yeah.
right?
Accent and dialect.
And correct. So the National Kriol Council work with linguists and educators to create the system where we present how Creole actually talk, rather than to try superimpose English spelling onto Creole words,
Wonderful.
right? So when you see people they say, "Oh, I could write Creole how I want," this is what they want to do. They want to superimpose the Creole spelling onto the Creole words,
Exactly.
right? Rather than they spell the word exactly how you say it. So in the Belize Creole orthography, that one symbol to one song. No, a symbol not always mean one letter. What symbol could be a combination of letters. right?
Okay.
So once it produce one song, we consider that one symbol. So, like for example, how we use Y sometimes. We use Y as a glider. That's how we'll call it. So we don't use Y as a letter by itself, except when we use Y in a combination with A to make the long A song. For example, in English, you spell rain R-A-I-N. That's the long A. So in a Belize Creole, you spell it R-A-Y-N. So that A-Y letter combination, that's a one symbol, and that make the long A song,
Okay. Okay.
right? So one symbol to one song. And that's how we standardize the writing system. So the goal that make consistency, clarity, and cultural ownership. As I say, every symbol correspond to a song, making the system phonetic and intuitive. The orthography also allow we if we could read and write Creole in a this standardized way, where very essential if we could put together dictionaries, if we could put together literature like you want to write a novel or poem, if we could even write music, and for using our education and cultural preservation.
All right. Well, so Ono they apply one phonemic writing system.
Yes.
Exactly. And that what I want to get to. You see, in San Andres, we may get some kind of hurt because as I tell you, English going in like from bad to worse. You got it like that. And Creole still they hear, but it kinda but when it come to the writing system now,
Mm-hmm.
you got some people who think because Spanish that the imposing language in the island, and Spanish happen to be one phonemic writing system. So what them
Mm-hmm.
assume, them think say with the right Creole, the Creole writing
Mm-hmm.
system, we just the write it in a Spanish. But I mean, why you come with that? We not come from a Spanish speaking country, right?
Uh-huh.
English speaking country, right? And they also they apply one phonetic system and create one phonemic writing system.
Yes.
That the same thing where they happen San Andres and
Mm-hmm.
how the linguists then find it easier for apply them the system but plenty of the Creole and Spanish they're not the only language where use one phonemic writing system, right?
Yeah.
You got Finnish, Turkish, even constructed languages like Esperanto. You got other language where use phonemic writing system. So we not to confuse that or mix up that with
Uh-huh.
the writing of Spanish because it don't make sense. While Spanish
Yeah.
I can read Creole and understand what they say.
Correct. Correct.
Plus, I think we have to understand the system as well because I don't know if you talk any other language, Mr. Wilford. You talk Spanish or Maya or anyone or just Creole and English.
I talk one little bit of Spanish. I could understand more Spanish than I could talk.
All right.
But I do talk one little bit of Spanish.
Okay, okay. Because so Joe, you just don't mention say sometimes the people and just want to write the whole them want. But that's
Mm-hmm.
not the case neither. You understand? You got
Correct.
a system where linguists from abroad come together with a council of people from the islands and create this writing system.
Mm-hmm.
And just to give one example, in a Spanish, the G. So people say that they write Creole now and they write it, they write home and they write it with G. But that no work the same in a Creole. That would have said Jew,
Right.
not say home. Right? So in a Creole, you would have write with H in a way
Correct.
Creole. So just to make the people understand a little bit about that, we're going to get into that topic. But I got something right here now where I come up with. Because,
Uh-huh.
oh, well, before that, I say, we say fe, and the one in
Uh-huh.
Island, they say fa.
Uh-huh.
Some people in the Western Caribbean, they say fu. But I notice say, like Belize, in a Belize itself, I hear different Belizean from different regions. And to me, you don't got the three of them. Because someone will say fe, someone will say fa, someone will say fu. No?
We got four.
You don't got four?
We
What? Which one the next one?
fe, fe, fo, fa, and four.
Oh, four? I know what
Yes.
one yet. Sometimes when we dey try look, you know, dry to English, we say far him, but I never hear for yet.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Who for that? Or who for that?
Who?
Who this for?
Yeah, we would have
Who
said
for this?
what? No, we would have said
Yeah.
yeah, who for that, or who this for, or for who this.
Yeah.
Mr. Wilford, one time me and you in the talk, and I realized it. We share one dream, whether for see the Western Caribbean united and able to move freely to and fro. But
Mm-hmm.
we when they talk about we writing systems. Two way they use phonemic writing system, but they're not necessarily same. But I would have said we basically talk the same language, just different slangs. But
Yes.
with the create, especially we in the archipelago and Belize and then Bocas. But we they create different writing system. Maybe we they use the same methodology, but then different. And I see in the world because
Mm-hmm.
divisions or politics or social differences, people create. The guys in language and they make two writing system and call it two different language. So for example, they go say Hindi and Urdu. Just because one more Muslim and one
Mm-hmm.
different culture, different country and policy, they say but they mutually intelligible, they understand everything between themselves.
Yeah.
We they create two different writing systems. You don't believe we could have come together and make something closer because we the talkie and we the talk the same language, but we have a different writing system in a way in each one of our country.
Now, we know whenever we create their borders, their divisions and subdivisions get created by we colonizers. And in our process of decolonization, we have to undo some of the other things we didn't do. Now we can't get and change the map and say Belize no be Belize no more and Honduras and Costa Rica no be that or Nicaragua to become something else. That don't establish. So we have to work with that. And on top of that, we have the freedom and the right to unite with who we choose to unite with. For whatever reason or upon whatever basis. And for we, the basis that because we the Creole. Right? So in at this time of globalization, excuse me, we could use that to our advantage. Because globalization make the whole world and nations become one village. Right? Look at this technology what we use right now. I never yet meet you physically, but I meet you per Zoom. I see you per Zoom, I hear you per Zoom. Right? So we have at our disposal technology and international laws that we could use to our advantage for build one united Creole nation, one borderless Creole nation. And that's how we want to get the freedom and the immunity if we could move where we want to move and do business with who we want to do business with for the best interests of Creole.
Wow. Big words, big words. So you send a message to
Thanks.
all the Creole speaking people across the Caribbean and Central America.
My message to all Creole people, the time for we come together as one.
Amen.
The time for we come together as one. One big step that for example, in the Caribbean, you don't need visa for go to none of the Caribbean islands and you could get, or you could go and seek work as part of CARICOM. So that's the one step in the direction of where to talk about. But we could now do that for we as Creole. So for the entire Creole population of Central America and the Caribbean, honor your language, honor your heritage, respect your people, and with a one people. We Creole language, born out of struggle, creativity, and resilience. The colonizer come and try box we in and try whitewash we, but we still find one way to preserve our heritage. This is a proof that we ancestors take the leaf piece, then the leaf fragments of what they had, and create beauty, identity, and community out of it. So when we look on the cultures throughout the Caribbean, the practices, some of them are with survival mechanism, and we take pride in it, because if I never feel how we persevered, me and you know me and got this conversation right now. So it's worth our respect, it's worth our honor. Make we keep talk with language. Make we write with language, even if we don't have a writing system. Some we don't have, and you could look at what we got and either implement it or use it to develop your own. Celebrate Creole. Celebrate Creole. Because every time we talk with language, every time we keep up with culture, that's how we live. That's how we assert who we. I may have an interview with some university students today about broke down music with Belize Creole music. And so I made tell them, either broke down, either boom and chime, either the music. Because if I not be the music, then that means I dead. Then that means I want to be something else other than Creole. So what that we heritage, that we have to live it. And not just got your picnic there on a tablet and computer and TV. Teach your picnic there the whole games then what we used to play when you know me smile. Teach your picnic there the phrase then what your granny used to tell you. Teach your picnic there the language. If you got a writing system, teach you how to read and write it. Keep tell the analysis story then. All the traditions what we got as Creole. Because if we know to practice the culture, then that's how the culture did. One of we Creole champions in Belize name is Lila Vernon. God rest her soul, okay, don't transition. But she got a popular song where say, I want to know who say Creole no got no culture. I want to know who say Creole no got no tribe. And when them bring we all the way from Southwest Africa, and they land we on this Caribbean shore. That's all our story. That's not just Belize story. And this is the root we are to talk about. All we share the African root. So that's our commonality. Even though we express it in a unique ways based on what island we depend on or what country we in, have to come together pan with commonalities. Right? Across borders, with a one Creole people. And we have to stand up strong. We have to keep with language vibrant, and we have to be proud because say we the Creole. Another one of our champion, Bella Carive, don't pass to God rest his soul, say, my culture is sweet and nice, my culture is hot like spice, my culture make me feel alright. I say me proud of my culture.
Wow. So basically, we might live in a different country, but with language tie with roots. With language and with roots tie with together. So
Correct.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wilford, for sharing your knowledge with we. We appreciate your participation. And all right, Ono pitnini, Ono where they hear we, Ono hear what the man say. So Ono listen and learn. Ono hear what big man say. That man with plenty of wisdom. So Ono don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Stay rooted.